So I have managed to get hold of the whole of the London Marathon 2024 results, the full data set. So I'm going to share with you some really, really interesting insights that I've taken from the data. So let's get into the results. I've got 53,752 pieces of information to analyse because that's exactly how many finished the race. In terms of the split, let's go straight into a gender split. So 58% were male and 42% of which were female. Now, I'm quite surprised about that because when you look at some of the park run results regular, if you pick a random park run and did it split by gender, you'd probably find them more equal, or potentially some of which are more female orientated. There's also 0.1%, so a tiny proportion of those who registered as non-binary. So let's have a look at the average time. So it's 4 hours and 28 minutes, the average finisher in the London Marathon 2024. And if you look at that by gender split, so for a male, the average time is 4 hours 12, and for female, 4 hours 49. We'll now have a look at the split of ages. So luckily within the data we can see the age of, or the age group of each participant. So this graph shows what percent of finishers were in which age bracket. So as you can see, the youngsters, 48% of them, I say youngsters, 18 to 39. So if you're 39 you may not feel that young, but 48% of finishers were in that category. And that obviously diminishes all the way up to, we see 0.16%, 75 to 79. So what a great job. Imagine being able to run the London Marathon at that age, and even better, 0.04 finishers of the London Marathon were over 80. And that 0.4 translates to 21 people. So what a great job. Well done you. So now we'll have a look at average time by age. So as you expect, we'll see a different trend here with the younger generation putting the faster times in, and we see exactly that. So you can see the times reducing by ages as we'd expect. However, what is interesting is, as you can see, in the early ages, so actually up to 44, there's no change. But then for every age band, so there are exactly 5 years in each of these age bands, it starts where your time diminishes by under a minute for every year, so less than 5 minutes for every 5 years, and that increases all the way up to 2.6 minutes per age by the time you're 70, and then increases again as you're 80 up to a higher amount. But still quite interesting that the older you are, obviously the older you are, the slower we get, which is pretty obvious, but actually the rate at which you slow increases dramatically as we get older. So let's go now into something really interesting. I mentioned the average time is 4 hours 28, and I probably want to say at this stage that if you're a slower runner than that, hands up, including me, don't feel that this analysis is isolating you, or if you're going to do the 2025 London Marathon, again, me, don't feel that these numbers put you off and feel fast. If the average is 4 hours 28, that means that there's roughly as many people faster than that as there are over it. And in fact, if you're looking over 5 hours, still 14,000 people, 14,958 if you want to be exact, got my notes here, were over 5 hours. Over 6 hours was 4,806. And over 7 hours, there was still 1,000 people. Now, if you think of your park run, there's not many park runs that are over 1,000 people. So there's still that many people who are running over 7 hours. So you definitely won't be lonely whatever time you're on the course. But let's have a look at how people interact first half and second half. Really interesting. So 4 hours 28 is the average time to run the whole thing. So therefore, if you run it on average and equal splits, so the first half the same as the second half, you do it in 2 hours 14 for the first half and 2 hours 14 for the second half. Now, obviously, we don't see that because we'd probably expect people to slow down. But if you had to guess how much people slowed down, would you think it was this much? So let's have a look. The average time to get halfway is 2 hours and 6 minutes. And the second half, that then increases to 2 hours 22. Now, I was slightly surprised by this. So I know a lot of people do go off a cliff. And it was quite reassuring for me because I definitely have gone off a cliff a couple of times in a London Marathon. But that was 16 minutes difference for the second half to the first half. And bear in mind, we're only talking about a half here. This is 13.1 miles. So you're slowing down on average by a minute a mile. And I think that's really important if you are embarking on your first marathon, or even if you're embarking on your 100th and you've been disappointed with your times. We know we're going to slow down for the second half. So just be aware and acknowledge that everybody, on average, everybody slows by a minute per mile, over a minute per mile. So for people in the slower camp, then that would be even more. So just don't beat yourself up, basically. I'm going to leave it there now, but I have got a part 2 that will delve in a bit more deeper into some of the stats and look at things a bit more by age on how much people slow down, but also by time, so you can see that if you are a slower runner, then how much you're likely to slow down for the second half and where the averages are. So please click follow, subscribe wherever you're watching this. Please add a comment. It really helps grow the channel. Anything, whether you've enjoyed it, whether you think it's absolute rubbish, or if you've got any other questions, especially if you've got any questions about the data and what insights you would like to know. I'm not going to promise I'm going to be able to answer everything because I've only got the data that's available on the public website. And just as a minimum, give me a thumbs up. But yeah, click follow, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks all. Bye-bye.